So if you guys didn't know, I am a huge fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. I love these movies so much and I think it is one of the best action franchises ever. Anyways, in this video, I will be ranking all 6 Mission Impossible movies from worst to best. Also, this video will contain spoilers for some of the movies, so if there are any you haven't seen, you've been warned. Anyways, without further ado, let's start this video. In the number 6 spot, I'm going to put Mission Impossible 2. This movie was extremely disappointing because it betrayed the tone of Mission Impossible, and the first half of this movie is so incredibly boring. And this movie also has a lot of slow motion action shots and a very forgettable villain. The only thing I really liked about this movie was the action, as even though a lot of it is in slow-mo, it is still very entertaining. This movie was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was definitely the weakest installment of the franchise. Anyways, in the number 5 spot, we have Mission Impossible 1. This was a good Mission Impossible movie. I wasn't a giant fan of it like many other people. I have to rewatch it so I could give a full in-depth review on it because I don't remember a lot from it. I remember this movie having good stunts and definitely being different from the rest of the movies, as Ethan Hunt doesn't even fire a gun in it. I don't think he does. I can't spend too much time on this one because I don't remember enough in it to give you guys like a full in-depth review. Anyways, with that being said, in the number 4 spot, we have Mission Impossible 3. This movie was very well made. It helped revitalize the series and make it its own thing again. This movie has some intense action sequences and a very great villain played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. One of the problems with this movie was its action though. It is filmed in a way that's very hard to see and it gets very shaky. Anyways, besides that, this movie was very good though, and I give it credit. Moving on to the number 3 spot, we have Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I love this movie. These top 3 movies are the ones that I love out of the series. This movie barely does anything wrong. Its plot gets a little hard to follow at some points, but other than that, this was a great movie. This movie has by far some of the best action sequences I have ever seen, like the Oprah scene or the motorcycle chase. Even Lane was pretty good as a villain, and they do a lot more with him in Fallout, which I'll talk about later. This movie again has Tom Cruise doing all of his own stunts and everything looks so real, and I loved it. Moving on to the number 2 spot, we have Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. This movie was incredible. Honestly, this is such a great movie, and I have to mention the Burj Khalifa scene. This scene proved that Tom Cruise is so dedicated to his job because he respects us as an audience. My only problem with this movie was the villain. He was very weak, and they don't explain why he wants to blow up the Earth, or not the Earth, I think he wanted to blow up the United States, and he barely even speaks in this movie. That's the only problem I had with this movie though, because its action scenes were breathtaking, the characters were really likable, and it's overall just such a great time. Now finally, at the number 1 spot, we have Mission Impossible Fallout. If you saw my review for Fallout, you know that I loved it. Fallout was everything I wanted to be and more. This is the stuff I want to see from an action movie, an actor who respects his audience by really doing everything that is happening on the big screen and by having characters who we care about. Also, this movie was brutal for a PG-13 movie, and this is what PG-13 action movies should be like, not all of that CGI bullcrap like in Skyscraper. Fallout was a great action movie, and seeing it in IMAX was amazing as well. This is also tied with my favorite movie, John Wick Chapter 2. There is nothing I didn't like about Fallout, and the rest of the series has a lot going for it. I loved the movie, it's just so good. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope they will make a Mission Impossible 7. I would be really happy if they did. I don't know if I could top Fallout, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.